Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining me today. I am excited that you're here. If you feel willing, you're welcome to turn your camera on. It's always great for me to see faces. I love talking to artists and getting to explain the TSUS collection. So yeah, I'm excited you're here. I'm excited I'm here. So thank you for taking the time. You are at the Texas State University System Artist Information Session for San Houston State University Gibbs Grant, Texas State University, the J.C. Callum Administration Building, and Lamar State College Port Arthur's Allied Health Building. So we will be talking a little bit about the program and then a little bit about those three projects. So why are we even here? Why are we even doing art on construction projects? The importance of arts in education has been well documented. It's not only a key cultural component that can teach valuable interpersonal and historical lessons, but it really helps build a better quality of life at work, in neighborhoods, on campuses. It can reinforce, a communal identity. It can even help your health. Public art builds and identifies spaces that are meaningful and enjoyable. The value added by arts and culture to the U.S. economy is actually 5 times greater than the agricultural sector, and it's even more than construction and transportation sectors. So arts and culture attendees stay longer, we spend more money than others, and we contribute more to the economy. Public art can educate students and university visitors not only about life and culture, but it helps build lifelong learners and cultural appreciators. These are some of my favorite statistics from an economic impact study number 5 that the Americans for the Arts organization did a few years ago. But I know you guys know all of that information, and I'm preaching to the choir. The higher education system at Texas State University determined that art is so important that they've built it into their rules through the construction process. Specifically, Chancellor Brian McCall has raised the prominence of the public art rule, allocating 1% of every construction project budget to be handled at the system level and spent on commissioning public art. This gives a greater level of cohesion, a stronger vision, and a sense of ease for each of our 7 institutions, including Texas State University, Sul Ross State University, Lamar University, Lamar Institute of Technology, and the Lamar State Colleges in Orange and Port Arthur. Speaking of the rules, in the TSUS Regents rules, it states that 1% of construction goes for public art. Since November of 2022, it also states that the commissioning process is led by me, the Director of Public Art. You can see here how the 1% is calculated from the construction cost notation, which doesn't include things like furniture or equipment. The total project cost is its own line item that goes to our Board of Regents and is approved by them. This is a lot easier because when you're dealing with 7 different institutions with 7 different financial departments who handle construction differently, having a clear set of guidelines is really helpful to ensure that everyone is calculating this on the same manner. So each of the 7 institutions has a committee on public art. And then I have 4 individuals that serve on all the committees, and they are visual arts professionals. Additionally, the committees are comprised of art faculty, non-art faculty that are associated with the new building, facilities and construction, the design team, alumni, development and advancement. Everyone other than those 4 visual arts professionals are nominated by the president of the institution. Each committee reviews the 1% public art project for their institution, including background information, artwork location, budget, call type, and the subsequent RFQ or RFP, which you've all likely seen. They help distribute the calls, and then they evaluate the applications of everyone that applies. Preferred qualifications set by the committee at this time include artists who have shown at or are collected by museums. What does the artist budget include? When you see that budget on the RFQ or RFP, it includes a number that you will be asked to show how you will be spending that money. The money should go towards insurance, engineering, foundation, structural updates, design time, fabrication, and lighting, installation, basically everything. An all-inclusive number. Here is the evaluation criteria that the committee will be asked to judge each artist application on to make sure we're understanding everything. I'm just going to read them out to you, and feel free to ask me questions at the end if you have them. Quality and aesthetics of artwork submitted, sensitivity to social, environmental, historical, educational, and site context of each campus, ability to enrich and diversify the system's art collection, demonstrated success based on experience, materials, feasibility, and maintenance, effective communication and completeness of the application, alignment with a project-specific public art goal as outlined by the committee. Remember, the open calls also include preferred qualifications. It's the hope that the artists you select are emerging or developed in their careers, including making artwork for museum collections. Moving on to the exciting part of the project. Yay. This is the Sam Houston State University Gibbs Ranch Equestrian Facility and Agricultural Lab. This project is being built in several phases. The facilities will include a learning center for ag sciences, space for the rodeo team, there's plant sciences, food technology, meat sciences, greenhouses, equine science, all kinds of things that are beyond the world that I live in, but very cool in agricultural world. The location for artwork has been determined kind of between two facilities and sort of a gathering space between the Ag Center and the Learning Center. And the goal of the project would be to help connect that sort of the educational and things that are happening inside the facility, or include the history of the Gibbs Ranch. Nobody expects you to know the history of the Gibbs Ranch, but the selected artists, part of their responsibilities will be to work with the school to learn how this property came to be and everything that's going on in the space. The artwork budget for the project is $175,000, and this call is open to the regional states you see here: Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming. So hopefully we will get some amazing applicants from all of those states that have a tie to ag sciences or are interested in learning about it. As far as the timeline, artwork, we are hoping to have artwork installed in October of 2024. The construction project is ahead of us, so they're actually going to be done with construction in about October of this year. So we're behind them, but that's part of my life at this point because I was hired and projects were moving full steam ahead. So another view of the location for artwork, there is a sort of plaza gathering area in between the two buildings. And I've been working with the construction and landscape team to kind of outline where artwork could go. Right now, we're thinking in this grassy area, but pending the artist that's selected, it could also go more centralized in the concrete paved plaza area. So those are both kind of the options. I will say that I've heard from faculty and staff that it's the hope that this facility might be broadened in its use and become available to the larger community as a space to host sort of festivals or music events or different things that are kind of outside just the ag sciences world, but there isn't a current plan for that nailed down. So it's not promised, but there might be just a larger audience for the piece. So I did want to mention that. Moving on to the Lamar State College Port Arthur Allied Health Building. This building will house laboratories, classroom spaces, nursing facilities, and surgery technology, all of the things to learn about being a nurse or a health professional. The location is on Proctor Street, sort of across from their library and main campus. The artwork is going to be very visible from Proctor Street, and it's got a very exciting design. I'll show you on the next slide as well. The goal of the piece is to be inspired by health and healing, since we're at a health building. That is kind of the hope. The budget for the project is $255,000, and this one is also open to the Southwestern States region as defined by the Labor Department. I'm hoping to announce a short list at the end of August, and then to have the artist under contract by the end of the year, and artwork installed to coincide with construction being complete in 2025. So we have a bit of lead time on this one. That is great because there is really a singular opportunity for a standalone artwork. But I do think because we are so early in the process that the selected artist would get to work with the landscape architect to really define this space and how the students interact with the ultimate artwork that's installed. Clearly, these are just renderings and we're still in the design phase for the project. So all of this landscaping and paving and everything surrounding sort of the location could be molded depending on what the artists prefer and how they kind of envision that space for students. So keep that in mind as well. But it's really a great location, high visibility, lots of student access, and then visibility from the street, from vehicular traffic as well. The third project is Texas State University's J.C. Callum Administration Building. This is an older building that is getting a couple of floors inside remodeled, and then also the entrance and part of the facade reworked as well. The president's office and entertaining space are located in the building, as well as some other administrative services. And we're really wanting to set the tone at the entrance of this building. The goal is that the artwork will serve as a beacon for the building, provide wayfinding so people can say, meet you at the XYZ sculpture, as well as just really adding a sense of honor and pride because we are at the president's office. I think it's a great location and opportunity to really, again, like raise that profile. The artwork budget for this one is $350,000, and it's a national call open to artists all over this country. The short list would be announced in August, and then hopefully the artist would be under contract again by November, December. Because this one is just a remodel, construction is kind of ongoing on the interior, and then the exterior is just getting started, but they are hoping to be complete by October of this year. Since we're not really tied to the construction schedule we don't need to install till October of next year. This is kind of another viewpoint of where artwork could go. There's like a planter. This black box right here is a planter. And they're not 100% tied to keeping the planter. So I would think that artwork could go here or could be incorporated in the planter and have a raised plinth, or get rid of the planter altogether if you take care of it. But we'll see. Again, once the artist is under contract, I think it will be a collaboration as to the exact location. So just a few next steps in our public art process. I did put exact dates to these because they're kind of different based on the timeline of the project, but you're submitting applications. The applications close August 17th. And after that, the committees will do some online judging of the applications. A short list will be committed to, and I will notify the short list by email and phone. And then the short list of artists will be invited to submit paid proposals, anywhere from about $1,000 to $2,000, just depending on the scope of the proposals. And then we will interview that short list, and then a finalist and an alternate will be notified. This meeting is being recorded, so I'm going to post it on our TSUS Public Art News page, hopefully in the next few days. But I wanted to make sure that we had time for questions. I know that was a lot of information, and some of you are interested in only one or, two of the projects. So if you want to just kind of raise your hand, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Yes, Michael, if you want to come off mute.
Yeah. I just had one question. I'm thinking about the Callum one because I live in Philadelphia. I'm not really eligible for the others, but where you say that the preferred eligibility relies on being in a national museum. I mean, does public art work equate to that as well, or are you specifically talking about museums?
So your question is,
if I have public artworks out there and part of collections, then does that count in the same way that would, as a museum would?
It definitely counts, and the committee is interested in seeing, all kinds of artists, but they are also interested in adding artwork to their collection of artists that have shown in museums. So it's not a requirement to have shown in a museum, but they are interested in adding those artists who do have experience in a museum. And it doesn't have to be your public art pieces. It could be, if you have photography that has been sold to a museum or anything. I would just highlight that information on your application.
Okay. One other thing with that Kellum building there, are those they're arched windows, right? Are they gonna stay?
They are gonna stay. I believe that they are adding a doorway to one of them, the center one, but the arches are going to stay. And the arch on that campus is seen everywhere in many of the buildings, facades and different architectural detailing. So the arch is kind of a prominent character throughout campus.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah. Other questions? Okay, well, if you think of something along the way, please don't hesitate to contact me. Oh, there you go. My email address is on the screen. It's also on our website. I'm happy to talk about any of the projects or the program or your application. I'm definitely here to help. And yeah, thank you guys for spending your 30 minutes with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.